Hey, thanks for tuning in to Larger Curves today. Make sure you smash that like button and smash that subscribe button. Thanks again for tuning in. So today we're going to continue our discussion because it's still news. The plot thickens, people. The plot is thickening. Over there on The Talk, remember my previous videos highlighted the meltdown of British Sharon Osbourne on The Talk last Wednesday, March 10th, when she was defending her good friend Piers Morgan over the comments that he said about Meghan Markle, Duchess of Sussex, and how they were racially charged, and some were even calling him a racist. Well, the plot thickens because in that exchange last Wednesday on March 10th on CBS's The Talk, Sharon Osbourne verbally attacked Cheryl Underwood. It was vicious. It was venomous. And then she in the middle of it, she told Cheryl not to cry. You don't have the right to cry. I only have the right to cry. Talk about macro aggressions, huh? Anyway, the reason the plot is thickening, people, is because now The Talk is taking a hiatus. Yes, today, Monday, March 15th, and tomorrow, March 16th, the usually live broadcast of The Talk will not be live. It'll be a pre-taped show because, as you can see from this headline on Yahoo Entertainment, excuse me, as you can see from this headline, CBS is doing an investigation into the show. Last Wednesday was Sharon Osbourne imploding and attacking Cheryl Underwood. Now, you know what's really interesting about this, people, is that all the reports, and even I am saying that it was between her and Cheryl Underwood. But anybody that watched the full over 20-minute exchange on The Talk last Wednesday will know that Elaine Welteroth, right here pictured, who's also a co-host on The Talk, actually had quite an extensive dialogue within the race conversation wherein she was attempting to educate her 68-year-old know-it-all otherwise co-host on the nuances of race and racism in today's society and how things come across and the fancy names we give things for racism these days, like unconscious bias. You know, we always have to give them an out because racists never like just being called a racist so we can deal with it. No. You can never do that. You have to rename it and candy coat it and sugarcoat it so that they can possibly swallow the actions of them and to a palatable taste so that they can consume it, ingest it, and hopefully make some kind of adjustment in an attitude in the way that they treat people of blackness, specifically people of black and all people of color moving forward. Excuse my rant. I have a lot to say. I'm a passionate woman. Thanks again for tuning in to Larger Curves. Make sure you smash that like button and smash that subscribe button. As we continue the talk today about The Talk on The Talk about racism, where Sharon Osbourne imploded and in Osborne behavior bit the head off of Cheryl Underwood. I wonder, did it taste like bat? Excuse me. That wasn't funny. Was it too soon? Is it too soon? You know, Ozzy Osbourne, her husband, is famous for biting the head off of live bats. Okay. Now, they had to kiss after that. I mean, they're married. So she took a page out of his book and bit the head off of Cheryl Underwood and didn't really give a lot to Elaine, but Elaine was visibly shook during that exchange on the thing. And I felt bad for Elaine too. I don't think she ever experienced anything like that, because the vitriol that Sharon even spewed some of the venom towards her was like so huge. I mean, it's like, hey lady, we're on a show called The Talk. Can we talk about it? Or do I have to get berated by you and your entitlement while you're sitting up there on your high horse about not being racism, while you're telling black women not to cry and demanding that they prove to you how racism exists? Anyway. Okay. I'm going to bring it back around. So, the plot is thickening because Sharon Osbourne subsequently did apologize in writing on Instagram. Wasn't it on Instagram? It's some social platform where she did one of those cherry-picked responses. It was kind of similar to her daughter's response when she got called on the carpet about saying the thing about if Mexicans didn't exist, nobody would be able to do your laundry or do your landscaping, or some stereotypical thing her daughter Kelly Osbourne said when she was on that show The View. And then she gave a response that was like, oh, she's ignorant, she's learning, loves Kelly. And now Sharon, her mother, guess the apple doesn't fall far from the tree when you're fake apologizing for stuff that you really meant, but you got caught saying on a public platform. So now you have to apologize. One of those kind of apologies is what her mom gave. And she feigned ignorance at 68 and said she's still learning, but she's not a racist, but she still felt persecuted. And, yeah, but she was sorry. And oh yeah, she loves the blacks. She loves the blacks community and has always had a great relationship with the blacks. Not according to Holly Robinson Pete, who she supposedly called too ghetto. And then Holly ended up fired. But let good old Sharon tell it, that didn't happen. So Holly's a liar, right? I'm noticing a theme that a lot of the women of color are liars and only Sharon is telling the truth. But I'm just noticing. Anyway, let's get back to the story at hand. So The Talk is on hiatus for today and tomorrow. And it's on hiatus because good Elaine went to HR after that horrible exchange. Cheryl didn't go to HR. Elaine went to HR along with the hairstylist and was like, look, this is obviously a hostile work environment and we don't feel comfortable working in these circumstances. And CBS's response to that was to shut down production. Because if Sharon can't have a check, nobody gets a check. Nobody's working until we get to the bottom of this. Because Elaine made a complaint, so we have to shut down production. But it really got shut down because it was Sharon who also on Saturday did an interview with Variety where she continued her thing about being persecuted. I felt like, what did she say in the Variety? Let's look. This is her Variety thing. Shout out to Variety. She said, 8 minutes before the show began on Wednesday, the showrunners asked her if it was okay to be asked about Morgan. And she said, sure, you can ask me whatever. And she said, but then I got out there and on my piece, and Cheryl Underwood turns around straight face, looks at me and reading from cards with questions. I was so hurt, caught off guard and stunned by what I was being asked and not prepared. I was honestly in shock. Let me do it in an English accent. I felt like I was in front of a firing squad. I felt like a lamb held out for the slaughter. They had me in there for 20 minutes. When they went on break, Sharon says, I begged them to stop. Please stop. Change the subject. She went on to say, I'm a big girl. I'm a professional. However, CBS blindsided me, and I don't know why they did it to me. The showrunners told me that it came from the executives to do this for me. But a rep from CBS declined. Osborne issued the apology. Oh, it was on Twitter, not Instagram, like I said. And there it goes. But that's not even the best of it. Because the hiatus is causing everybody to not have a say. CBS has to do their internal investigation because of Elaine's complaint, because of the obvious exchange between her and Cheryl Underwood, and because it was all televised for all to see. Now, the copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act, allowances are made for fair use and purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Now, the reason I read all of that about Sharon's response in Variety is so we can show what a liar she is. I think, in my humble opinion, she was lying, saying she was blindsided. Because if you go back and watch the segment, if she's saying to Variety interview that it was only 8 minutes before that she found out that they were going to ask her about her friend. But if you watch the intro into the show, they announce it like in the beginning, how Sharon feels about, and then not only does the announcer do it in the intro, rolling credits, but then Cheryl Underwood like does a full-on introduction to Sharon to give her the mic to further dig a hole for herself. Let's watch.
It's Wednesday, March 10th, and the talk is live. We're diving into topics everyone's talking about, including Mrs. O's show of support for her friend Piers Morgan after he blasted Meghan Markle's interview with Oprah, then quit his own show. We won't want to miss what she has to say today. On the heels of the Pepe Le Pew character-facing backlash, popular movies like Peter Pan and Dumbo are under new scrutiny. Critics say the messages are offensive and studios are pulling the images and issuing warnings. But is this going too far? Plus, Demi Moore opens up about her relationship with the current wife of...
So, as we can see, it's just rolling credits. And now Cheryl is going to come on here and she's going to say this big introduction. But you heard that in the opening credits, how it got on there. So it was a plan. It was planned. She's lying. She's definitely lying, it seems, that she had some inkling of what was about to happen. And then she said Cheryl had the questions in her hand. But watch who really had it. It was her white co-host, Amanda, with cards in hand asking the initial questions. Peep game, people. Peep game. Smash that like button, smash that subscribe button on Larger Curves.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Talk. Carrie Ann is out again today, but we hope she feels better soon. We want to get started with a story everyone's been talking about. Piers Morgan quitting his British morning talk show after he bashed Meghan Markle's racism and mental distress allegations. It was a topic on our show yesterday, and right now, Mrs. O would like to address some concerns she has received for supporting her friend. Sharon?
Yeah, I just wanted to let everyone that watches our show know that because I supported my friend with his freedom of speech and his opinions on what he felt about the interview of Meghan and Harry, I know he has a right to say what he feels on the interview, as we have a right to say, and everybody has a right to say what they feel with freedom of speech. Did I like everything he said? Did I agree with what he said? No, because it's his opinion, it's not my opinion. But why is it that because I supported a longtime friend and work colleague of mine for years, that everybody goes, if you support him, then you must be racist because he's racist? Now,
Notice, Elaine has
support
cards
him,
out
freedom of
already.
speech
It's
and
part
with
of the
my
format,
friends.
people.
I'm not racist, neither is Piers racist, and I hate the fact of even saying I'm not racist.
Cheryl
It's a
doesn't have cards in her hand.
evil word to call anybody without knowledge of that. Now, what have I ever said about anybody that is racist? It's not within me. It's not within me who I am. It's not in my soul. I don't care what color or what religion anyone is. Are you a nice person? That's what I judge you on. Are you respectful and nice to me? Then I return it. I don't care anybody's religion or race. It has nothing to do with being a good person, but I'm the last person in the world who's racist.
Anybody? Anybody?
Cheryl didn't say anything.
Mrs. O, it's always really hard
Cards in her
when you
hand.
see a good friend going through a difficult situation and you know them on a different level.
Who has the
and
cards?
You really know
Who has the cards in their hand?
Personal.
Who's
heart
asking
and
Sharon
their mind,
questions?
You know, and you have this relationship with Piers, so I completely understand why you reached out and supported.
See how nice she is.
A friend. And I agree with you. It doesn't mean that you support what he says.
No, I don't. And half the stuff he comes out with, I'm like, where did that come from? But it's Piers. And Piers is employed to give his comments. And that's what he does. He's a journalist.
Elaine has her cards
I have a
out.
lot of friends that say things that we don't agree with, but they still are friends.
Cheryl, he comes on here.
Yes.
And what do we say every time he comes on here?
Well, time and we're not gonna get a word in edgewise. That's what I be thinking in my mind.
Yeah,
but
he waffles on, and we go, okay.
But I will say that the last time that he came on the show, I did bring to his attention that there were racial and racist implications in the dealings with Meghan Markle, specifically because she was Black. But you know, we love you here. And this show is called The Talk, and we talk to each other.
Yeah.
So I really would like to know, because I've been knowing you for years
Go
since
on.
I've been here, and I've never seen anything come out of you other than, if I don't know, I'm willing to learn. If it comes off a certain way, I stand corrected.
Right.
That's the only thing I've seen.
Yeah.
So what would you say to people who may feel
Now Cheryl has the
that
cards.
while you're standing by your friend, it appears that you give validation or safe haven to something that he has uttered that is racist, even if you don't agree? Am I saying it right? Okay,
I don't know what he's uttered that's racist. I'm not trying to slide out of this one.
Right.
I don't know. Tell me, what has he uttered that's racist?
If he talks about,
Okay. So we already played this video. I'm not going to play it further. But if we go back to Sharon Osbourne's Variety interview, not only does she blame the network, but then she goes on to say that Cheryl Underwood hurt her because she asked her the questions. And then listen to what else she says, people.
Saying for people that may be feeling that, because the Sharon that I know, the Sharon that I've been talking.
What else did she say?
Systemic racism, that's learning about.
Totally blindsided. She said she was totally blindsided, but this article proves that she wasn't as blindsided as she pretended to be. Okay? But she did say something else that she said, imagine being caught between two something. What did she say?
And the reason is because I think in this
dang, she said something about, oh, here it is. I want to make this world a better place, but I don't like being put in a situation I'm not prepared for and fired questions at me. I felt like I was on a witness stand with two prosecutors on either side of me, is how she is describing Elaine, who she asked a question, and Cheryl, who she asked a question. Now, see, this is why Elaine had to give the complaint, because not only did you ask Elaine a question, but then you turn around and yell at her and her friend and then blame them and pretend like they're attacking you. I just can't, people. I can't. Anyway, that's today on the Larger Curves, where we thank you for tuning in. Make sure you leave a comment. Do you think that CBS should maybe let Sharon Osbourne take a hiatus for a long time, since now we have so many people of color coming, black women, we don't even have to say people of color, these are black women coming and saying that they've been treated a certain way by Sharon Osbourne. Holly Robinson Pete said it and nobody listened to her. They said she was imagining it. And now Elaine and her hairstylist are saying it. Cheryl Underwood doesn't have to say it. We saw it. You know what I'm saying? And there are some other people that if you do your even own Google who's had problems with Sharon Osbourne, you'll be able to see that some people look a certain way. I'm not saying it. I'm just saying that in my research, I'm seeing that there's a lot of articles that where women of color have taken issue with Sharon Osbourne. I'm not saying that she's not a good manager for her used to be rock star husband, or that she's not a great mom, or any of that, or that, you know, I'm not sure how she ended up on American TV for so long as a daytime talk show host. I only ever knew her as Ozzy Osbourne's manager. And I don't even like hardcore rock like that, but she made it here. She's had a platform here for 11 years, but she has a history and a pattern now of treating people a certain way. I don't know. I'm not here to make any enemies. This is all my humble opinion and for entertainment purposes only. Thanks again for tuning in to Larger Curves. Make sure you smash the like button and smash the subscribe button. We'll see you in the next video. Be sure to leave a comment below on what do you think about all of this. Do you think Elaine should have went to HR? Do you think anything should happen to Sharon? What do you think? Should she at least apologize? That's the other part, people. Oh, before I go. If you did watch it to the end, then you'll find out even a third piece of information. Not only did Elaine go to HR, not only did she pretend like she was blindsided, not only do we have that the talk is going on hiatus, but we also have that Cheryl Underwood on her podcast since the event, I think it was over the weekend, on her thing, said that when in the original clip, when it went silent, it was because Sharon was dropping F-bombs, cussing Cheryl Underwood out. And Cheryl said she would expect that somebody who she considered her friend, after cussing her out on national TV like that, would come to her and say, oh, I'm so sorry. Would you forgive me? But I don't know that she can expect that from Sharon, because Sharon is the one that's trying to act like she's the victim in all of this. Of course. Can somebody look up the definition of white fragility? Can you do it for me? Do it for you too. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Leave a comment, smash the like button, and smash the subscribe button. We'll see you next time on Larger Curves.